Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. I have to tell you, this story that's been unfolding in the NFL, especially in the NFC South, has everyone talking. It's about one of the league's most disruptive, most talented pass rushers, Micah Parsons. Yeah, that's right. The player who, since entering the league in 2021, has been a force of nature for the Dallas Cowboys. But recently, things have taken a sharp turn. Rumors and reports indicate that Parsons wants out of Dallas. That's right, he's made it quite clear that he's unhappy with how negotiations over his contract have played out, and that he's considering a move. And let me tell you, that has huge implications, especially for a team like the Atlanta Falcons, who are always looking to bolster their defense and find those game-changing players. To understand the gravity of this, we need to look back at Parsons' rise. Drafted with the 12th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, Parsons immediately turned heads. The Cowboys saw something special in him, and he didn't disappoint. From his rookie season, he was a wrecking ball, accumulating sacks at an incredible pace. Over his first 4 seasons, Parsons has racked up a staggering 52.5 sacks. That's an elite number, folks. To put that into perspective, only a handful of players in NFL history have managed to do what Parsons has done in their first 4 seasons. In fact, alongside Hall of Famer Reggie White, Parsons is one of the only players to record a dozen or more sacks in each of his first 4 seasons. That's a level of dominance that makes him one of the most feared pass rushers in the league today. He's made the Pro Bowl in each of those 4 seasons, and he's been named a first-team All-Pro twice. Those are not just some stats, they're a statement. They tell us that Parsons is not only a top-tier player but someone who could, potentially, define a franchise's defense for years to come. And now, with the recent turmoil in Dallas, his statement on X saying, "I no longer want to be here," and his complaints about being ignored in his contract extension requests, it's clear that his future in Dallas is uncertain. Despite all this, Parsons has still been present at Cowboys' voluntary workouts and training camp, but he's not participating in practices. That kind of attitude, that kind of situation, fuels speculation about a possible trade. Here's where it gets interesting for the Falcons. Now Dallas has made it clear, no intention of trading Parsons. They see him as a cornerstone. But if the situation escalates and Parsons does become available, how much would a team like Atlanta be willing to give up? That's the big question. To give you some context, back in 2018, Khalil Mack was traded from the Oakland Raiders to the Chicago Bears. The package: 2 first-round picks, a third-rounder, and a 6th-rounder for Mack, who was just 27 at the time. It was a blockbuster trade, and it showed how high the stakes can go for a player of that caliber. So if Parsons hits the market, he'd likely fetch a similar, if not bigger, haul. But would Atlanta be willing to go all in? Well, that's complicated. You see, the Falcons have been pretty strategic lately. After years of struggling to get a consistent pass rush, something that's haunted them for over a decade, they've shown signs of finally turning things around. Signing veterans like Leonard Floyd, who's expected to bring his reliable edge rushing to Atlanta, was a smart move. It's part of their plan to build a more formidable front 7. Then, in the draft, they made some bold moves. They took Jalon Walker at pick number 15, a linebacker with lots of potential, and then traded back into the first round to select James Pierce at number 26, giving up their 2026 first-round pick in the process. Early returns on Pierce and Walker are promising, and it looks like the team is investing in young talent to build a sustainable pass rush. But of course, no one really knows until the season kicks off. The NFL is unpredictable, and things can change in an instant. Still, if Atlanta had the chance to land Parsons, say in a hypothetical trade, would they do it? Well, that's the big debate. The trade would probably involve multiple first-round picks, maybe even more, considering Parsons' talent and production. But here's the catch. The Falcons already traded away their 2026 first-round pick to get James Pierce. So that complicates things. They'd need to be creative, maybe look for a package that involves future picks or other assets, rather than a direct swap. Plus, Parsons, who is set to make $24 million this season, would not come cheap. But let's be honest, folks, any team that wants to compete at the highest level, especially in a division like the NFC South, would jump at the chance to add a player of Parsons' caliber. Now, some might wonder, is it worth it? Is Parsons the kind of player who can transform a defense overnight? Absolutely. His ability to pressure quarterbacks, set the edge, and create turnovers is elite. For the Falcons, adding a player like him could be a game changer, especially given their ongoing efforts to improve their pass rush. Over the past few seasons, Atlanta has been trying to find a consistent source of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They've had moments of promise, yes, but never quite enough to turn the tide and get them into that elite defensive conversation. Parsons could very well be that missing piece, a player who elevates everyone around him. But as much as the idea of Parsons in Atlanta sounds exciting, it's important to keep a level head. The Falcons, under General Manager Terry Fontenot, have shown they're willing to be aggressive but also strategic. They've been cautious about giving up too many future assets unless the deal truly makes sense. And after making a significant investment in James Pierce, it's unlikely they'd be willing to part with multiple first-round picks again, especially for a player who could cost a hefty salary and a big trade price. Plus, it's worth mentioning that Parsons' current contract situation might complicate negotiations. Dallas might want to hold on to him for as long as possible, especially since he's under contract for this season and has a lucrative salary. The Cowboys have been firm about not wanting to move him, but if the situation changes, the Falcons will be ready to pounce. And let's not forget, the NFC South is a division in flux. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are retooling, the New Orleans Saints are always dangerous, and the Carolina Panthers are building a new identity. For Atlanta, this is a window of opportunity. Adding a star pass rusher like Parsons could be the piece that pushes them over the edge. Imagine the impact of Parsons, paired with their young and promising defense, bringing pressure from all angles and making life miserable for quarterbacks. It's a tantalizing thought, but we also have to acknowledge the practical limitations. The Falcons have to weigh their options carefully, balancing the present and the future, and making sure they're not overextending themselves in the process. Now, I want to touch briefly on the team's current roster strategy. With the addition of Pierce and the promising development of Walker, the Falcons are clearly trying to build a balanced and sustainable defense. They're investing in youth, but also bringing in experienced players like Floyd to bridge the gap. This approach shows that the franchise is serious about competing now, but also thinking long-term. They're not just chasing quick fixes, they want to establish a defense that can carry them deep into the playoffs for years to come. That's why the potential of adding Parsons is so appealing. His talent, his experience, and his ability to change the game would be invaluable. Of course, all this is speculation for now. Parsons might stay in Dallas, or he could find a new home somewhere else, and Atlanta might look elsewhere for pass rush help. But one thing is certain, the NFL is always full of surprises, and the possibility of a star like Parsons changing teams is what keeps fans like us on the edge of our seats. It's the kind of story that could reshape divisions, alter playoff races, and redefine careers. And for Atlanta fans, it's a reminder that the team is always looking to improve, always aiming for that next step, and always ready to seize opportunities when they arise. So, as we watch this situation unfold, remember that the Falcons are not just sitting back. They're watching, they're analyzing, and if the chance presents itself, if the price is right, they might just make a bold move. That's what makes this offseason so exciting. The NFL never sleeps, and neither do the Atlanta Falcons when it comes to building a winning team. Whether Parsons becomes a Falcon or not, the fact that we're even talking about it shows how far this franchise has come and how ambitious they are to reach that elusive Super Bowl. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all of this? Do you think the Falcons should pull out all the stops and try to acquire Micah Parsons if the opportunity arises? Or do you believe it's too risky, too expensive, and perhaps not worth it in the grand scheme of things? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Falcons. We love hearing your insights, your predictions, and your passion for this team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and more deep dives into everything happening with the Atlanta Falcons. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep this conversation going. Because when it comes to Atlanta Falcons football, we're all in this together, and the best is yet to come.